Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are subscribed and don't recognize me, well, that's because I used to be known as Green Ranger Alex. Yeah, I know, cringe, but it was the time. I used to make miraculous animations, edits, and AMVs. A lost art in this day and age. All of those videos are private now, for good reason, and I recently got back into Miraculous and felt like reviewing it. A little late to the party, but that's kind of my vibe. So, with all that out of the way, here is my review of the first 8 episodes of Season 6 of Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug, and Cat Noir. That's a lot of ofs. Miraculous, it seems, has finally caught up with social media, as the logos for all of the superheroes have become communities, the most interesting of which is that Chloe is in charge of the bee community. Adrian is baking. Guess what? Pizza. No, obviously, it's
Pancakes,
Pancakes and
pancakes, pancakes,
pancakes.
pancakes. This family is obsessed with them. Adrian and Marinette get to talking about passion, and Adrian laments the fact that he doesn't seem to have one. He's good at a lot of things, but none of them seems to be something he's passionate about. We catch up with Aurora, who is participating in a bee community contest. She's not doing so well. We meet some new characters, Aglie. Interestingly enough, she gives Aurora an idea.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Aurora starts following around Adrianette, taking pictures, basically becoming a paparazzi. But even with that, she's not able to get to the top of the contest and ends up losing, which gets her akumatized into Climatic Queen. While fighting her, Cat Noir realizes this is his passion, the thing that excites him the most. They take care of Climatic Queen, and the episode ends with Aurora realizing what she did was wrong and leaving the bee community to join the ladybug community instead. We also get a sneak peek of Lila, or Cerise, or whatever she's calling herself now, and Marinette makes some progress by letting Adrian be on his own. Yeah, this is supposed to be groundbreaking, guys. Adrian starts running randomly and meets a girl. This will be important for the future. Don't forget about her. Now that the recap is over, let's get to the review section. Good. What a great beginning. I mean, I wouldn't have expected an Adrian focused episode to be the opener for the season, but if this does anything for what's to come, then it's looking pretty good. The question of the episode about Adrian's passion was an interesting and important one. I mean, he has done so much in his short life, from modeling to basketball, and he's excellent at all of them. But none of them were his passion. And then, like, at the end, where he discovered that, like, being Cat Noir was his true calling, made total sense, as in, like, the previous seasons, we've seen that unlike Ladybug, who just does this because she has to, Cat Noir really enjoys this.
What a boring day. Fine, free at last. What was that? Hey, Mr. Pigeon, you haven't been feeling depressed or desperate or angry? Thank you for asking, Cat Noir, but I am in the best of spirits, really. Cover your eyes. Something tells me an Akuma's going to show up. Make that a large milk, pal.
So, yeah, it made complete sense, and I'm glad they went that way. The running thing came out of nowhere, but I can't really judge it until we see more. It could make sense if his arc this season, I mean, if he even has one, maybe trying to run away from this past. That would explain, like, his clothes being the same, his room being a depressive mess, and, his attitude this season in general. I like the akumatization this season. It seems way more interesting and intense than Hawkmoth waving his wand. And also, Lila just furiously writing, way more threatening than Gabriel giving yet another monologue. Now let's get to the bad. Basically, the Aurora part of the episode. It wasn't really bad, just uninteresting. I feel there's something more we could have done with her than just make her really passionate about weather. I mean, we saw how she really liked getting attention, so we could have stuck with it and made her a more negative character. The show could seriously use some, since Lila has been pushed to the shadows and Chloe got banished to London. But that's really it. I don't have much negative things to say about this episode particularly. Honestly, a pretty solid start to the season and made me really interested in what we got next. Solid 6 out of 10. Hey, Editing Alley here. Yeah, I changed my mind. 5 out of 10. Now, let's get to Illustrator or Illustrator. It's kind of weird. They never say Illustrator in the episode, but the title, everywhere I've seen it, says that. I'm just gonna call him the illustrator. I just think it's way more funnier. We begin with Marinette and Alia pulling an all-nighter, breaking down all they know about the new holder, and they end up with nothing. Absolutely nothing. The next morning, Marinette and Alia, Nino, and Adrian are heading to a double date when their bus has an accident. Rena Rouge and Carapace jump into action and save them. Alia makes up an excuse about interviewing Kumitizees and finding more info on the new Hawkmoth, leaving Adrian and Marinette alone. This, for some reason, makes Marinette really, really anxious and weird because apparently she's still not good with being alone with him. You know, her boyfriend of at least a summer now. Marinette messes up her date with Adrian and finds excuses to ditch him. He gets tired and leaves when he sees Ladybug turned into Cat Noir, who tries to relax her and let the other heroes do their job. So, as we find out that the heroes are allowed to only jump into non-Akuma activities. A little girl named Maya gets fed up of no one wanting to look at her drawings and gets akumatized into the illustrator. Ladybug, Cat Noir, Rena Rouge, and Carapace face her off and are able to de-akumatize her, the episode ending with Marinette giving Alia a Kwagatama, with all of her memories as Ladybug and making her the next in line for guardianship. What happened when Master Fu picked her? Oh shit. What's the name of an episode towards the end of this season again? Double oh shit. Let's talk about the good. Not a lot of good things to say about this episode, unlike the last, but I still liked some stuff. Marinette and Ali and Nino are actually trying to keep track of everything they know about the new Hawkmoth, and getting interviews from Akumatizees was also nice to see. It feels like they're actually trying to find her instead of just waiting for Akumatizations to happen. Also, the ending with Alia getting the Kogatama is exciting. It shows that we're already this early on into the season progressing on with the plot, which can only hopefully mean good things for the rest of the season. Let's get to the bad. Marinette's not feeling comfortable around Adrian. She's been together with this boy for at least a summer and a year of knowing him and becoming his friend. You're telling me she hasn't had one-on-one time with him? And the progress she made last season feels like it's been forgotten for some dumb bits. All in all, not a great second episode, but not horrible. 5 out of 10. Now, let's get to episode 3, Sublimation. The episode begins with Marinette finding a new victim for her stalking. A German
Belgium. She's from Belgium.
Olympic level runner, Sublime. Yes, that's a real name. And no, it's not weird. Who has befriended Adrian as they like to run together. She's also got a bitch of a mom and a loser of a dad. Remind you of anyone? Oh yeah, and she's also a blonde. Remind you of anyone? She asked Adrian about her, but he tells her they don't really talk, they just run, which she finds hard to believe. She sets out to befriend her to calm down her insecurities of the girl stealing Adrian. However, everything fails as Sublime seems to be perfect. She sneaks into the changing room and overhears what sounds like Sublime telling her she's planning on stealing Adrian. She pretends to be akumatized. Sublime brushes her off. She gets ready to show off her skills to Bob Roth, a potential sponsor, but gets interrupted by a ladybug and breaks her prosthetic leg. Ugh. Not a good look, Ladybug. Not a good look. Her mom gets akumatized into sublimation with the ability to make everyone reach their best self. Ladybug and Cat Noir defeat her by having self-confidence, I guess. Oh yeah, and there are also these new anti-akumas which basically depower someone. Then Marinette apologizes to Sublime and guess what? Befriends her. Turns out all she had to do was ask. Ha ha ha. Isn't that funny? Why aren't you laughing? Review. Unlike the last 2 episodes, I'm gonna start off with the bad, because that's what mostly this episode was. God, it was so hard to go through this. Mena has really become insufferable. My god, not even an ounce of self-reflection. Even after Tiki tries so hard to show her what she's doing is wrong. It really just feels like she's become a caricature of herself, and I can't stand to watch her. This was also in like Illustrator, but not to this level. Another thing I found weird was the relationship dynamic between Sublime's parents, Yet another loser dad and a horrible mom. It gets to a point where it starts to feel misogynistic, Thomas. When all of your female characters are either pick-me's, bitches, or the devil, or the nicest person in the universe, you have to wonder how you yourself see women. But that's a video for another day. Also Sublime, really? Could they not find a better name? I know what they're trying to do, but all I could think about was the Ken meme.
Sublime!
And the X-Men villain. Now, let's get to the good. There's not much of it, but let's try. I like Sublime. She's another one of the nice abused kids, but she looks pretty. Her hair is the best we've seen in the whole show. And it's nice to have some prosthetic rep in the show. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on from this trash fire of an episode. 3 out of 10. Now let's get to the next episode. The focus for the episode is shifted towards Sabrina as she tries to live her life and make friends after Chloe. Marinette, on the other hand, is worried about her 100th kiss with Adrian and wants to make it special. Yes, this is something she worries about and keeps track of. Marinette is having a hangout at her house, and Zoe, feeling bad for Sabrina, invites her. Marinette tries to invite Adrian, but he doesn't want her to miss out spending time with her girls. The night arrives, Marinette still has her mind on Adrian, so when Sabrina arrives, she's very short with her and sends her home crying. She almost gets akumatized but rejects it. Roger isn't as lucky and gets turned into... What? Are you sure? That's the name. You're sure about that? He gets turned into Daddy Cop. Yep, not gonna talk about it. Ladybug and Cat Noir take him down with the help of Miss Hound, who gets a glow up. The episode ends with the girls accepting Sabrina into their circle. Oh, and there's something going on between Zoe, her past, and this guy. Let's get to the review section. I really like them putting focus on Sabrina and showing how she's dealing with the whole betraying Chloe thing, because Chloe was her whole life, basically. They could have easily just ignored that and just had her be a part of the friend group without exploring anything further. It seems like Zoe and Sabrina might become a thing. That's nice, I guess. Good for Sabrina. Also, more sapphic representation is always good. Let's get to the bad. Not much bad except the usual Marinette being too much, but it wasn't as bad as the other two episodes that had her going like manic and crazy, because this one, it was kind of more understandable. It was less exaggerated than the other ones, and you understood her more. It felt more like Marinette being Marinette than her just regressing. This is the kind of energy, if they're gonna have her still keep her flaws, this is the kind of energy I want it to be. Not whatever Sublimation was. Overall, 5 out of 10. Now let's get to El Toro de Pietra. We begin with the band prepping for their concert, and Marinette and Adrian end up opening some of his childhood memories. Marinette ends up finding a letter for Adrian from season 5 Gabriel, before he decided to change his mind about the wish. She decides to show it to Natalie instead of Adrian. We also get a glimpse of Luca, and Natalie talking to a man who is counting on her, apparently. Natalie and Marinette read the letter, and it's Gabriel before the finale, asking Adrian to continue where he left off. They debate whether to tell Adrian or not. Ivan's dad just got out of jail and plans to continue stealing and wants Ivan to help him steal the Mona Lisa. Ivan can't bring himself to do this, so he just leaves the band and his dad hanging, and he just runs away to the park. When his dad realizes what Ivan did, he gets furious and akumatized into El Toro de la Pietra with the ability to turn people into bulls. Kitty Section performed their songs for Mayor Bustier without Ivan, as he is faced with his father. Ivan goes to hide from him and calls Ladybug and renounces his Miraculous. But Ladybug convinces him, and Meritorox transforms and goes face off his dad, whilst Julika, with some encouragement from Rose, performs the song by herself, both succeeding in their tasks. The episode ending with Ivan standing up to his dad and convincing him to turn a new leaf. He also apologizes to the band, and Marinette decides to hide another thing from Adrian. And we get a flashback from Natalie talking to the council and her father, who she promises to give the Miraculouses. I like the focus on Ivan. I'm really happy with the fact that we are going to focus on the heroes that didn't get them in season 4. Ivan has always been kind of a one note character, the gentle giant and Milan's boyfriend. So I was really happy with how this episode decided not to focus on him and Milan's relationship, but instead focus on him and flesh him more out as a character. We actually find out where he gets his gentle demeanor from, which is his grandmother, as he was raised by her, which makes sense as grandmothers are usually more sweeter to their grandchildren. We also see him not give in to his dad when he starts calling him weak and soft because he knows that's not true, and instead he expresses his feelings through a mask, but still lets his dad know how horrible a father he's been. Let's get to the stuff I didn't like. I'm kind of over the bad parents for their origins of these characters. Like, do we really need to do that approach for each one of these characters? It's getting kind of lazy and repetitive. Also, I feel weird about the Spanish character is associated with crime and is a bad father. It seems extremely stereotypical, because Spanish criminal or mob boss stereotype is like very prevalent in media. So that seems a bit iffy. Maybe I'm just thinking too much into it. Overall, a fun episode. 6 out of 10. Hey, Editing Alley here again. Yeah, I changed my mind again. 5 out of 10. Now, let's get to Where Papa's. No, it's not really to Where Papa. The episode begins with a flashback of little Adrian, voiced still by Bryce Papenbrook for some reason. We have a scene of Natalie and Adrian in the present where she still feels uncomfortable being his guardian. Adrian's grandparents from both sides, the Grassettes and the Graham de Vanillis, arrive. They start fighting over him. We get some misogyny from the head of the Graham de Vanilli towards his wife, making her get akumatized into ringmaster. She turns the two granddads into werewolves and makes them fight. Ladybug saves the day, having to break Adrian's ring, which she knows holds the amok, and by breaking it, she might release Adrian, but she has no choice, and does it. But turns out nothing happens to Adrian. The episode ending with everyone making up, and it's all rainbows and sunshine. Okay, let's get to the review section. Our second overly bad episode of the season, in my opinion. First, let's start off with my dumbest critique. Do we really need to have Bryce Papenbrook voice baby Adrian? It's turning what's supposed to be a cute scene into a really creepy one. Now, let's move on to the real criticism. The episode for me is a whole lot of missed opportunities. First of all, I feel Miraculous needs to start breaking the formula. We are at a point where I don't think we need an Akumatai Z in every episode. I think we can do without them. This episode in particular seemed really big as we finally met Adrian's grandparents, but instead of going the expected interesting route, this show, like usual, went the boring bad one. When we met them, they barely did anything with them, and everything just works out at the end. I mean, come on. Don't get Adrian being we don't even get Adrian being shocked about his paternal grandparents having a completely different name than his father. And those two don't even mention anything about Gabriel. Also, the Graham de Vanillis were built up so much from season 3 to 5, and then this is what we get? Really? Are we seriously reforming this dickhead, but she's too far gone? I'm getting too heated. Let's get to the good. The Natalie and Adrian dynamic was cute. I want more from them, and I'm happy Adrian finally has a real parent again. Adrian was actually cute this episode. It's a first for the season. Congrats. If you're wondering why Adrian is still alive after, breaking his amokatized object, here's the reason. From Astruck. Apparently, now it involves intent to destroy a sentient monster. Seriously, the bullshit this show has is so fucking insane. Whatever. 3 out of 10. Okay, next episode. Revelator. The episode begins with the team practicing to not de-transform, and they end up coming up with a hero name, courtesy of Ladybug, of course, the Miraculous. Talia confides to Marinette about how hard it is for her, a journalist, to not tell people the real truth. Are we sure about that? Adrian continues sharing his struggle about not having a dream and not wanting to be famous to Nino. Marinette and her parents face the perils of fame as they show her videos by Vincent, who is making hit pieces against her. Also, Chloe is the most famous teen, even surpassing Adrian. That's my girl. I'm making a feast out of these crumbs. Meredith starts to binge watch all of Vincent's videos about her. Meredith and Adrian decide to meet up with Vincent, but that doesn't go so well, and the public continues to hate Meredith. Rena, enraged, uses her powers and exposes Vincent, getting him akumatized into Revelator. Rena Rouge, Cat Noir, and Ladybug jump into action, but in the battle, Rena discovers that Ladybug lied about Gabriel being monarch and has a valid crash out. Cat Noir gets a power up where he can do his own miraculous Cat Noir, and he is able to erase Alia's memory of finding out. The episode ending with Alia questioning what secret could be so bad that she would hate Marinette for. Let's get to the good. A lot of Alia focus this episode, which I like, and I think we're going to get more of this season, so really looking forward to that. I liked Alia's reaction to discovering what Marinette did and finally give her some harsh truths. I was feeling like I was in Crazy Town on how minimized the issue had become. She did something really, really bad by not telling Adrian, and she needs to deal with that. And I think that's where we are headed after this episode, so I'm looking forward to that. Fun to see Marinette face the struggle of dating someone famous. I did not think they would do that, but it's nice to see that. Let's get to the bad. Don't really like the fact that Alia volunteered to get her memory erased. It didn't really make much sense for me. I don't like when they do like the whole mind wipe thing or time erase thing. I think they should have kept it. We could have had a nice arc between Ali and Marinette of them not really vibing with each other anymore. Happy that Cat Noir got a power up. That's very nice. That's really it. 5 out of 10. Now let's get to the final episode for this video. The Ruler. The episode begins with Mark and Nathaniel showing their comic to their parents, to various results. Mark's parents seem supportive, while Nathaniel's not so much. Mena is sick and is worried Adrian will find her disgusting, so she tries to hide her illness. Yep, she's that uncomfortable around him. Nathaniel gives Mark his parents' criticism. It lands into Mena's hand to decide whether the writing is good or not, and she ends up agreeing with Mark. Mark and Nathaniel have a moment and cut. Nathaniel rewrites the script to give it a better ending. Mark really likes it. However, his mom discovers it and is not pleased. Meredith tries to fix everything, but she just ends up having Nathaniel's mom get akumatized into the ruler. Nathaniel joins Ladybug and Cat Noir in defeating the ruler, and the episode ending with his parents apologizing to him and accepting his art. Oh, and Nathaniel and Mark reveal their identities to each other. Yep, that also happened. Cool. How many people know each other's identities now? 1, 2, 3, way too many. Let's get to the good. I like the relationship between Mark and Nathaniel. For once, the show is able to showcase a healthy and interesting relationship. I also like the allegory that the art was for queerness. Art and queerness are very closely related, so it doesn't just come out of nowhere. Nathaniel has always been a favorite of mine from season 1, and so it wasn't hard to root for him. His transformation is great, so happy to finally see it. Love the new redesign, but I miss the boots with the fur. R.I.P. Let's get to the bad. I feel the end was a bit rushed with how harassed the mom was. It just didn't feel like it would have. It just doesn't feel like she would have caved in immediately. I would have preferred if she stuck with what she already believed and Nathaniel just stood up to her and maybe left to live with Mark instead. I just feel they do this way too often. They have these like shitheads of parents and in like an episode they do a complete heel turn. It's been happening, I feel, since the beginning, but also they have been doing that way too much for this season specifically. And if he left on his own term to live with Mark, it would have sent like a nice message to kids that you don't have to deal with abusive parents. You don't have to try and make them see their faults. You can just leave. The episode was also, and I hate to say it, but at least the beginning or the part with the classmate felt very cringe. Whenever they talked about his comic, it just made me want to turn it off. Like, we get it. It's good. Please stop glazing it. I think he wrote The Great Gatsby. One final criticism for me is that I feel they could have said he was gay. They don't even say they are in a relationship. I mean, they imply it very heavily and we can infer it, but they never say it, which feels a bit cowardly. But maybe they can fix that in the Mark focused episode. Overall, 6 out of 10. Okay, so now that we got episode by episode review done, let's get into how I feel about the season overall. Honestly, pretty good. It's had some bad and some cringe, but that's Miraculous. Season 6 is honestly my favorite so far after 2. Hopefully they keep this up and develop it even better instead of the downward spiral the original saga was. The test for the season is going to be when the Zoe episodes come out and if it's still good after that. She's apparently my kryptonite. Both season 4 and 5 were pretty good until her 2 focus episodes and everything went downhill. Coincidence? I think not. And she clearly has some stuff teased in Daddy Cop, so let's see. I'm enjoying the character focused episodes. I thought that like the hero team would be kind of pushed aside to focus on like Marinette. I mean, they all already had their one focus episode. That's usually what everybody except Marinette or Alia gets. So it's nice to see them actually giving the rest of the cast stuff to do and exploring their characters further, actually putting some effort into this whole team instead of just having them be background characters and just there for fight scenes. I'm excited for the Mark episode. The Nathaniel episode was my favorite of the season so far, so I'm really looking forward to the Mark one. But yeah, judging only by these 8 episodes, the season is good. Not great, but good. A solid 20 minutes of entertainment. Now let's get into the ranking of the episodes. Let's start off with the last and definitely the least, Were Papas. So far, the worst this season has to offer, only because of the lost potential we could have had with these characters instead of whatever we got. Next up is Sublimation. Incredibly cringe. I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to watch this episode. It was just so hard to watch Marinette just be this aggressively annoying, and that being the norm now. And the ending just pissed me off. Not everybody needs to be her friend. I genuinely think Sublime got brainwashed, or it was just plot armor that she even accepted being around Marinette. If I was her, I'd book a flight back to Belgium so fast. Next up, Illustrator. Not bad, but not great either. It was fine, at least the hero stuff and the Alia and Nino stuff, but the Marinette agent stuff really brought the episode down. Revelator, okay episode. It didn't have anything that made me question myself for watching it, so that's the only reason it's so high up. Il Toro de la Pietra, pretty good work on Ivan's character, and yeah, a fun episode. And it even had like a little spotlight on Julika, which I love. Climatic Queen, fun, cute episode. Daddy Cop, I liked what they did with Sabrina. It was genuinely a good episode. The first, obviously, being The Ruler. Again, I've mentioned this before, but the healthiest and the best relationship we've seen in all of Miraculous so far. And also, it was just like a joy to watch. Overall, I'd give this season a solid 5 out of 10 so far. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, leave a like, and if you didn't, leave a comment about what you didn't like, or if you just want to talk about how you felt about the episodes, drop those and drop your own reviews in the comments as well. I'm really open to conversations about this show, so yeah, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all the other YouTube things if there are any. Bye!